Yo, what's going on, you guys? So I've been playing disc golf for a very long time, and honestly, I do very, very well at leagues. I almost win every single time, or I'm at least, second on a bad day. Sometimes third. Now, it depends what league I go to, but basically everything around this area, I'm winning like almost every single time, with the exception of maybe Glow. I'm not as great at Glow. I wanted to give you guys some tips on leagues, and just a disclaimer, like I've been playing a long time, I play in Open, but I think that your rating doesn't necessarily matter for winning in leagues. You can win in leagues even if you're playing against someone that you know is actually better than you. So maybe some of these tips will help you guys out, but this video is going to be directed mostly towards like doubles. I'm sure some of this you could use in tournaments or even singles. But anyways, I got some tips for you. Let's get right into it. First tip, and it's easily the biggest and most important tip on this list, is practice putting. Because let's be honest, if you're playing a disc golf league, usually the holes are going to average like 280 to maybe 320. Maybe you're playing a course with longer holes for your league, but I would say the majority of leagues are usually designed for everyone of all skill levels to be able to have fun. So what really separates like the losers from the winners at leagues, in my opinion, is how many putts you make. Because honestly, if it's 250 feet, everyone can make it there. Almost everyone there is going to have a decent shot. I would say like 80 to 90% of the people there are going to be within the circle, but not everyone is going to make that putt. And it might seem kind of weird. It's like, oh yeah, 18-footer, but it's like, a lot of people are, just there to have fun, and honestly, yeah, it is fun to just play in leagues. If you really focus and start hitting those putts, you're going to notice that you're going to start winning a lot more. I'm focused on my putting a lot. Recently, I have a bunch of different putting styles, but, I'm missing maybe like 1 to 2 circle one putts, and usually none. Usually the only putts I miss are like, 50 feet and more. I'm really hitting a lot of putts now, unless it's really tricky. And I've been working on the putting a lot, and that's why I've been, very successful this summer in leagues. Now, with so many different putting styles out there, my only tip for putting in general is make sure it's consistent, comfortable, and that you feel like you can line up. Not like you just kind of toss it in there. I feel like you have to have a setup where once you set up that you're lined straight up that basket, and really the only way you're going to miss is high or low. You shouldn't be really missing left or right after you kind of dial in your style. That's my opinion. But anyways, moving on to tip number 2 is to prepare for the course. Now, obviously, if you're showing up to a league, never played the course before, yeah, just bring your bag, and you're kind of out of luck for this tip, but let's say you've played the course maybe once or twice. Take maybe 3 minutes, and just in your mind, be like, hole 1, what am I going to throw on hole 1? Don't think about the wind, don't think about anything else, just think, okay, do I have my disc for hole 1? Yeah, I got it. Hole 2. Do every single hole. Just imagine you're playing in your mind. Like, what is the best disc to get the birdie or to get an easy 3? I don't know what course you're playing. Maybe it's really difficult, but just make sure that you have the discs that you need, because you'd be surprised. Sometimes, like your backups, you might just be like, oh yeah, that one's a little bit more overstable, so I'll grab that. It might only be for this league round, but I think just taking that extra 3 minutes and making sure you got all your discs is definitely necessary. Tip number 3, and this is exclusively for doubles, is to gauge your partner. Are they quiet? Are they more talkative? Are they outgoing? Kind of try to synergize with them, even if you're a more quiet player and they're super outgoing. But at the same time, maybe they're a super quiet player. Maybe they have music on. They're not trying to be rude, but they're just like very focused. Try and work with your partner, not against them. Sometimes when I'm playing, I'll be the guy who's quote-unquote carrying the team, but you'd be surprised, like, you really do need your partner for doubles. It's doubles for a reason, right? Even if you're really good and you've been playing for a long time, there's going to be, like, a couple strokes that your partner's going to get for you. And sometimes the only way you're going to get those strokes with your partner is if you, make sure they're feeling confident, if you give them some advice, whatever it is to get to your partner, keep them focused, keep them in the game. That way you're going to have the most fun. Now, tip number 4 might not work for everyone, but it works for me, and that is keeping the score in mind. So most doubles leagues are going to be at deuce or die courses. Now, some of these holes might not be very deuceable, like maybe they're rarely ever two'd, but I would say most doubles leagues that I've played are usually courses, around 300 feet per hole average. And I would say that makes it like a deuce or die course. So you have to really like keep in your mind if you've played here before. If you're new there, yeah, obviously just do your best. But if you've played at this course before, you need to really get that number in your head. What do I need to shoot to win? Like, what is a really good number? You know, what can I realistically get? You know, if you have to get minus 14 to win, you're going to get minus 14 to win. You keep it in your brain, and that works for me. Some people are just like, I just show up and play, and that might work for you. Moving on to tip number 5. This one is extremely important in my opinion, and it is do not lose focus. The second you lose focus is the second you start losing control of the disc. Whether it's off the tee, whether it's on the putting green, and honestly, it's usually on the putting green. Right, if you step up to like a 260-foot hole, you're probably going to be able to drive it there. But if you're not focused the entire time, if you're not thinking about that next shot, what I usually do is after I make my tee shot, all I think of is, you know, where did I end up? You know, sometimes it's in the woods or whatever, but I'm starting to think about that shot. You know, the tee shot's over. You know, if I ace, yeah, I'll talk about it, whatever. But after I throw the tee shot, I just think about the next shot. And I'm just focused, trying to get, you know, put myself in position for that next shot. It's almost like I'm starting the 30-second clock before I even get there. I'm like thinking about, okay, what kind of putt am I going to hit? Like, what kind of putt is this? You know, what do I have to do next? What's my upshot going to be? Like, I feel like knowing ahead of time is such a big advantage instead of like, you know, just babbling on to your card about 5 years ago when you got an ace on the same hole. You know, instead of, and then when you get to that shot, you're wasting your time. You got like 15 seconds of you just being like, what should I do? Instead of you thinking about that by the time you walk up, so you've got even more time to throw. I'm not saying like in leagues they're going to call you on a time violation, but I feel like the more time that you can politely address your lie, and I try to do that as soon as I throw. Like right after I throw, I start thinking about my next shot before I even get there. I feel like it's a big advantage. You're going to be more focused on it too because you're trying to put all your energy into this next putt, into the next shot, whatever it's got to be. And if you're able to stay focused for the whole league round, I guarantee you're going to place better. Moving on to tip number 6, it is to conserve your energy. So I usually do a warm-up of some kind, maybe just a couple throws, maybe a few putts if I have time. Honestly, I just warm up really when I play the league round because I play leagues all the time, but let's say you got like 5 minutes, yeah, maybe throw a couple putts, a couple upshots. Don't go for like a 360 drive to impress your friend. And then during the round, I think is most important, you know, don't go out of your way to start conversation. You know, I keep it to like a minimum. I do talk a lot during the round if things come up or whatnot, but I'm not the person who's trying to start that because talking and all this extra stuff that doesn't have to do anything with throwing the disc off the tee is going to actually take a toll, whether it's mentally or physically. I mean, you have a limited number of calories that you consumed beforehand, right? They burn out pretty quick when you're playing 18 holes. So you really want to hold on to as much energy as you can because the second you start losing energy is the second you start getting unmotivated and tired, and then you start losing focus, you stop caring about winning, and really the whole point of playing or competing is to win, right? You show up to this league round, you pay the $10, you pay the $20, and you're there to win. You're not there to, you know, be extra funny or anything. You know, it's funny when you win, right? It's more funny or more fun when you win. So that's, for me personally, that's my tip. So my final 2 tips I'm going to kind of put together, and it is to leave your ego at the door. Now, I know that actually might be kind of hard for some people. Like, let's say you're playing a course where almost every single hole is like 250, 260, 240. It's like, I mean, think about it. How can you have fun there? If you've played there like a gazillion times, and if everyone's going to shoot minus 17, like, how do you convince yourself to, like, make yourself win? You know what I mean? Like, there's other good players. You know, it's not the most fun course. You don't really get to rip any drives. So what I like to do, at least on shorter courses, this works for me the best. I pretend every single tee shot is an upshot. You know, if you can, like, pretend for just 1 second that you're in a tournament, and when you get on that tee pad, like, you could even put a mini on front of the tee pad. That doesn't matter, right? I think that's, you know, within the rules. If it's against the PDGA rules, yeah, don't do it. I'm pretty sure you could put a mini, like, in front of the tee pad, on the tee pad. You could pretend like it's your lie and it's an upshot. When I do that, you know, all the flashy stuff kind of goes out the window. Because, like, think about it. You could pretend, like, instead of a 250-foot hole, you're playing, like, a 570-foot hole, right? And it's really technical, and you got to this landing zone. And now all you have to do to get your birdie is just, you know, get under that pin. That's all you got to do. I pretend like that all the time, and honestly, it works out for me. You know, there's going to be some holes out there where it's like only 250, but maybe I'll throw a fairway driver because of the shape. You know, sometimes you kind of have to get out of that tournament mode because, like, sometimes you're like, oh, I've played this hole before. Obviously, I know what to throw. You know, it might look a little bit weird, but I know what to throw. But I would say most of the time, for most holes, if you just pretend it's an upshot, it's going to go a lot easier. Because trust me, I'm the guy who wants to throw a putter off every single tee. I don't care if it's 330. I don't care if it's 300. I want to do the crazy sidearm hyzer flip, impress everyone. But lately, I've been winning a lot more just by pretending it's an upshot. Because, like, if I'm in a tournament, I don't care about impressing anyone off the upshot. You know, maybe I'm in the woods and I want to get out. That's totally different. But if I'm just, like, in the center of the fairway and the basket's 200 feet away, what's the point of throwing, like, a grenade? You know, just, like, some random shot. Just throw your putter to the bottom of the basket, tap in. You know, it's as simple as that for me. And that really helps me not try to show off as much. You know, and at the same time, I would say, like, showing off or, like, using your creativity is totally fine. But I feel like if you're struggling in leagues or tournaments or anything like that, maybe that tip will help you out a little bit on the shorter courses. Anyways, guys, hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.